Today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down whether PSA is still worth grading with, and if so, which cards I believe are good to be graded at this current price of PSA service. Now, before we get into that, I did want to say a little bit about our membership program, because our membership program has been doing very well. Most recently, in our April 11th weekly report, we had recommended Jalen Brunson's 2018 Prism numbered parallels, and if you guys don't know, just a few days after, he ended up dropping 41 points, and his card market is starting to gain some great traction. So if you guys did want to join in on the program, you can click the link down below to sportscardsinvest.com. But thank you guys so much for all the recent support, and without further ado, we're going to hop right into this video. So essentially, right now, economy at PSA is $50 a card. Now, my DMs have kind of been flooded recently, asking me if it's still worth it to grade with PSA, and if so, which cards should I send in? Which cards are worth it? So as you see here, the $50 a card is up to $999 maximum declared value. So that puts a little bit of a cap. So I kind of want to break down everything, what my current thoughts are, and how to kind of pick cards that you can still grade and make good money. Now, the first thing when grading any card, of course, is being able to, get an eye for condition of the card, and in general kind of understand what goes into buying cards ungraded. And I think it's very tough a lot of the time, especially on eBay, given that you can't really tell the surface, and that is kind of one problem that I feel a lot of my followers and subscribers have been running into. And so I definitely think the best places to be buying ungraded cards is always at card shows, in person at local shops, and then also, if you are going to ever buy on eBay, you want to go ahead and make sure that the seller is not selling ungraded and graded cards, because chances are, if they're grading some cards and not grading some cards, the cards that they're selling raw, chances are they are going to be in bad condition, especially if they're an expensive card, because the question always lies, if it's in such great condition, why doesn't this person send it into PSA themselves? So I've always, when buying on eBay, make sure that the person is only selling ungraded cards, which probably means that they're just pulling packs and selling the cards on eBay. Which means you can get some good PSA 10s. But as you see here, for example, with this seller, if they're selling ungraded cards and they're selling graded cards, chances are there's some sort of chance that they're not sending these cards in because they wouldn't grade well. And this goes with more expensive cards, of course. This is just an example. I know no one's sending in $2 cards, but if you're selling, $200 ungraded cards, chances are he knows this is not in good condition, so it's not good to buy that. Now, another thing you really want to look for is pop report, and figuring out how these cards are grading. So for example, when I look at Jason Tatum's Prism Silver, they've been 1,255 total graded. Out of that, 753 have graded a PSA 10. So that's a more than 50% PSA 10 rate. And that's a very good card to grade, just because a lot of them are grading PSA 10s. They seems to be a card that's overall well-centered, overall in good condition, and PSA has been quite generous with them. So I think it's, one example of a good card to grade. If you ever have, if we combine these two numbers, so there's around 1,200 out of 1,255 that have graded either a PSA 9 or a PSA 10. So if you can be buying this card to where if you get a PSA 9, you're breaking even, and a PSA 10 is profit, that's always going to be a good time to be buying these up. So you kind of want to weigh your risks. So you have a very high chance, statistically, to get a PSA 9 or a PSA 10. So if you're getting this at the price of a PSA 8 or in between a PSA 8 and 9, ungraded if you're buying it, then you can make some great money on Jason Tatum's Prism Silvers. Now, if we go ahead and break this down, just to give you guys an example, a Jason Tatum Prism Silver, we're going to go by ungraded, and then we're going to go check the prices and figure out one example of whether I personally would grade this card or not. So we're going to try to find a comp for an ungraded. I know it's pretty tough to find these on eBay nowadays, but I think, okay, so this was best offer accepted. But I'm sure you can, yeah, all right, so here we got one. So a $353 sale on an ungraded Jason Tatum Prism Silver. Now, if we look on Card Ladder, the PSA 9, I believe, is at around $525. So with your grading fee, you're probably going to be in this around, $50 plus, give or take $350. So you're going to be in this plus shipping charges. So say we'll call it $450. So if you're in a raw card at $450, and most of them are grading at least a PSA 9, essentially, if you get a PSA 9, you're making $50. But there's always, for this specific card, there's a 60% chance you can get a PSA 10. So a PSA 10, you're going to go from $450 to $1,500. So you're essentially either making $50 or you're making, say $1,050. And if you get a PSA, based on these numbers, it seems very unlikely that one would get a PSA 8. Especially if you're buying these in multiples, if you're hitting even the average PSA rate, which is 60% PSA 10 and around, 35% PSA 9, you're still making great money. So this is personally one card I would buy to grade. So those are kind of the things that I look for. Of course, base cards have become very tough to grade and make any margin because you're paying $50 to grade it. With shipping, you're paying around $75. So even for a great player like Tatum, it's simply not worth it to be grading his base cards. I think that's definitely a trend that's started recently. Back in the day, it was, you can make a margin on a lot of things, especially base. Nowadays, you kind of have to be a little bit more picky and choosy as to what you grade. But there is still a lot of money that can be made to grade, cards nowadays. So I'm just kind of taking you guys through what I look for. So firstly, of course, Pop Report, you want to make sure they're grading well on PSA, and a lot of newer cards from 2017 onwards are grading well, and then you kind of want to just put your costs in. So $350, $50, add another $50 to buffer in case, shipping, insurance charges. So we're up to $450, and they're grading pretty much PSA 10s and PSA 9s. So if you're getting a PSA 9, you're pretty much breaking even / making $50. But then for every PSA 9, you have a chance to get a PSA 10, which is $1,500. So that's one example of a card that I would grade. If you guys do want to know a lot more cards that we do want to grade, of course, our membership report does contain a lot of information about that. But I really hope this video kind of helped you guys get a little guide. If you guys like my grading videos, drop a comment down below, and we'll definitely start to do more of these grading videos. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to join in on the program, link is down below. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.